Wrestling POV's content may not be suitable to audiences. Your discretion is advised. Wrestling POV's content may not be suitable to audiences. Your discretion is advised. Wrestling POV's content may not be suitable to modern audiences. Your discretion is advised. Wrestling POV's content may not be suitable to modern audiences. Your discretion is advised. Wrestling POV's content may not be suitable to audiences. Your discretion is advised. Wrestling POV's content may not be suitable to audiences. Your discretion.
Hey, wrestling fans, by the power of Alanis Morissette and the great red and white of Canada, we bring you WPOV Global. I'm your host, T. James Logan, the legend himself, with the guy who's so much of a gentleman, it's almost scary. We're talking about Elio Canella. Elio!
Yes, sir.
How are you doing, my friend?
I am doing great. How are you?
Well, you know what? Bombarded by a ton of wrestling this week. We've had not only did we have two pay-per-views, major ones from AEW and ROH, we also had New Japan floating around doing shows in Australia, which they weren't that big of a deal. There's only minor stuff that we're going to talk about in there. And a lot of stuff this week, folks. We've got two pay-per-views. We're going to do part B of our, looking at Block B of the G1 tournament for New Japan. We've got your regular news. You've got your poll. We've got our regular three shows that we're going to get to in the second segment. And we might have a surprise depending on how long the two of us gab this first half. If not, that surprise will be going over to the next episode, but we'll tell you about it. Don't worry. We won't leave you in the dark. Right. At least for now we will. But anyways, Elio, how was your Canada Day?
My Canada Day was amazing. I got to spend time with my brother and his family. They drove up from Michigan on Friday night and they left on Sunday morning. So got to spend Canada Day weekend with them.
Excellent. Did you get drunk, Elio?
Somewhat.
That's what I like to hear. Somewhat. Well, you know what, folks? Most of you fans who are listening to this, me and Elio are both Canadians, and we live in Canada, and we just recently celebrated our Independence Day on July 1st. We know our American brothers and sisters, you guys will be coming up right soon on the 4th. It'll be Independence Day for the U.S. We just want to say a special hello and shout out to all our fans across the world, whether you be Canadian, American, any kind of European, Russian, whatever, Asian. You know what, guys? We love you, and we know you all have your own independence and celebration days and whatever. And we just wanted to say from Canada, we wish you the best. And you know what? We got a lot of cool wrestling to talk about this week. And we probably should get into it, eh?
Hey, yes, sir.
See what I did there? I threw an A in because everyone says Canadians say A. We don't really, but I threw that in there just so Americans can go, man, did he just say A? Yes, I
got
did.
That A. I got that A.
Anyhow. First of all, let's start with let's do some news and rumors. Now, I know you got some rumors floating around. I've got a few news items that I want to talk about. Things that have been floating around in the non-WWE universe of wrestling. One of the first things I talk about touches on AEW. Now, recently, All Elite Wrestling had their pay-per-view, and fyterfest, which is spelled with a Y. I'm not sure why. Just kidding. See, I'm trying to be brilliant there, but I don't think it's working. Anyhow, fyterfest, one of the matches contained a spot that a lot of people were not cool with. And it involved Sean Spears coming out and hitting Cody Rhodes with a totally unprotected chair shot to the head. And anyone who tuned in and saw Cody get his bell rung pretty bad. Apparently he got 12 stitches in the back of his head from this. But there's been a lot of onus on, a lot of people pointing fingers here saying, I know AEW wants to try and be cool, but is endangering someone's life. Because we do know now, years ago, people didn't realize how much damage was being done to your head by taking unprotected chair shots. And a lot of people this day and age say it's unacceptable. nobody should be taking an unprotected chair shot. Like, why would you do something that stupid to endanger yourself? So
apparently they were saying that the chair was gimmicked, but the way it was the chair shot was delivered, the lip of the seat wasn't, and it wrapped around Cody's head and opened a gash behind his head.
Now, I want to ask you, Elio, really quick, and you know what? Actually, no, let's save this for next week's poll, okay?
Okay.
Fans, in this day and age, no matter what company that you are in, should unprotected headshots with chairs be acceptable?
No.
Now, I want you to think about it before you answer so quick, because we're going to let the fans think about it too. Elio probably played his hand here, but you know what? Fans, I want you to vote in next week on that poll, and you tell us what you think. In this day and age, should unprotected chair shots be allowed? Okay? Now, this week's poll that we did, now, speaking of getting a few drinks in me, okay? Obviously, I was kind of drunk because I forwarded to our president that our poll this week was asking fans what was the better show, AEW's Fyter Fest, and I mistakenly put ROH War of the Worlds when it should have been...
Wait, no wonder I was running low on alcohol this past weekend. You got into it.
I got into it. You know, in Canada, there is only 2 liquor stores, and I pilfered both of them. Okay? All right? And yes, I did use an igloo to get ice. Anyhow, so after skating home... anyways... It is Best in the World, not War of the Worlds. I'm really sorry for... I know a few fans poked fun of that, and you know what? I deserve it. I obviously was not 100% thinking when I wrote this down, and I got to tell you, though, folks, if any excuse I can have is I watched let's say, how would you say this in a very scientific way? I would say a shit ton of wrestling this week. I mean, there was a lot going on. New Japan had 3 shows going on. We know each of those is 4 hours. We had a pay-per-view in ROH. We had AEW's pay-per-view. We also had our regular shows that we watched. So it was a fat-packed weekend, including holiday with wife and kids. So I've crammed a lot. And like I said, I really apologize for people who thought, why would I call it War of the Worlds? Well, I was obviously being dumb and I'm not thinking it was Best in the World, okay? So anyways... Let's take a look at now, Elio. What would you answer? Like, I'll give you my answer first on this. I watched both these pay-per-views, and I'm gonna have to say that from a wrestling standpoint, if it was just pure wrestling, Ring of Honor might have edged it a little bit, but I think AEW delivered a bit more funner of a package. There was a lot more fun things going on, and I think I'm going to have to give my vote to AEW. What would you say?
Yeah, I'm going to say AEW Fyter Fest was better because like you just said, because I saw Best in the World and that was more wrestling focused, wrestling oriented. Fyter Fest delivered more fun and more action.
Now, one thing that's kind of worrying me, fans, is, ROH has always been this alternative to the WWE, a little more wrestling, a little less like a comedy, drama, whatever you want to call that stuff, the soap opera. However, AEW here is kind of delivering both at the moment. They're giving you, the kind of silly stuff, but they're also giving you good wrestling. And it makes me wonder if ROH is going to find itself at the end of this left behind, or maybe, not being able to keep up at all with these guys, because I gotta say, right now the ROH product, I mean, except for a few guys who really stand out to me, like Jeff Cobb and the Briscoes, I'm finding it a little bit stale. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
especially
not,
last week.
It's not exciting, and that's, I mean, I've loved ROH for so long. And to find that it's kind of becoming whatever, saddens me. I mean, we're not talking it's gotten into the toilet like Impact yet, but it's definitely. I'm finding that I'm not enjoying their show as much as some of the other companies we've been watching, and that's sad because I've always loved Ring of Honor since the beginning, but I'm not sure what to think there. Well, anyways, let's get back to this poll. This poll, you know what, fans, you voted. 77% of you said All Elite Wrestling was definitely the better pay-per-view, while only 23% gave the nods up to ROH Wrestling. Now, a few of you fans had some comments. Brandon Williams said best in the world, obviously correcting me. I'm not sure if that meant, though, did he find it best in the world? Was the better one? So, you know what? Yeah, it was nice to correct me, but you maybe should have took the time to answer the question.
Hater alert.
Yeah, you want to hear hater alert? I got a few more that are hating on me on this week. Zach Levy said, "Can you at least know that ROH show was best in the world?" Can I know? Sure. Yeah, I know.
Oh,
Okay,
that's
thanks.
That's a real.
And Trenton something or other.
He just responded to
thank
Zach.
you for saving me from saying it too. Okay.
Hater times 2.
That's 2, but you know what? I deserve it, guys. You guys are right. You know what? I slipped up on that one and I apologize, but you know what? Screw you both. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, let's get back. Our friend Zach Lavallee said, but I give ROH the edge because as great as AEW was, it had to rely on gimmick stipulations and pop culture jokes. ROH brought great in-ring technical matches, all with stakes and good storytelling. Zach, very good point. However, I'm kind of wondering, though, is it just enough? I mean, in this day and age, maybe you kind of need some gimmick stipulations. Maybe you kind of need some pop culture to hit the middle road. Because, I mean, even from our poll, if more than 77%, well, that's like 3/4 of the fans, more than 3/4 of you, thought AEW was the better show. All right? AJ Rio says AEW is what the people want, which Zach Lavallee once again said, I agree that they are a necessary change in the wrestling world, but if you're going to ask me which was better this past weekend, I'm going to say ROH best in the world over AEW's Fyter Fest. And you know what, Zach? Okay. There was some really good wrestling. I mean, I can't fault you, and that's definitely a choice and a taste that you have. And I got to say, like I said, I've always been a Ring of Honor fan, but lately, it's kind of getting to the point where, and I don't know if it's because so many people have gone to WWE and over to AEW, that maybe there's just not enough shining going on inside of ROH to make it as exciting.
Like, especially what they've been doing with Silas Young over the past few weeks, like with him mocking Jonathan Gresham with this El Hijo Squid, and the Squid, and like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, why are they doing this to Silas Young? Or why is he even doing this?
Well, and you make up a good point. I mean, they've taken a character who was, I thought he had a good enough character being the last real man and doing these things, and kind of making him a bit of a joke. Well, maybe that's their attempt at doing, the whole soap opera thing we're talking about, but maybe not. But you know what, fans? We want to thank you guys for putting the poll in this week. And like I said, next week's poll, you tell us, in this day and age, is unprotected chair shots cool or not cool? Or I don't want to say cool. Should they even be allowed or not? And I'd like to know what you fans think. Tell me, maybe, you know what? Maybe they add an element to wrestling that you think is cool. Maybe this day and age, it's just barbaric and ridiculous. You tell me, okay? So let's go on to some of our news for the week, all right? Now, I only have a little bit of news, like I said, and I started and then we got sidetracked again because, we're still hungover and recovering from Canada Day celebrations. But I will tell you, folks, we did talk about the unprotected chair shot. Yes, Cody Rhodes, a lot of people saying that wasn't very cool. Well, when we look over at some other news we have right now, let's go into MLW. I got some news right there. Apparently, there is a new signing in MLW. Okay. Now, I don't know this guy, but he comes with a lot of... he's got a little bit of a buzz coming. And I'm hoping I'm saying his name wrong. And I think it looks like Shinron. And he's trained by AR Fox. He has done Shikaro in the past, over the last 18 months. And he's been working and living in South America and has become a big star for Chile Lucha Libre. He's also done shows in Mexico, Bolivia, and Peru. It seems MLW is pretty high on him, but you know what? MLW has shown us they've had some some really good results using luchador wrestlers lately from Mexico and other places. So let's see how that turns out. And sticking in MLW, some other news we have. People have been asking about Timothy Thatcher. It seems that he hasn't signed with the company, but it seems like it's almost going to be a thing. They're kind of easing him in there, and they're interested, but no contract yet. Okay. Plus, the guy, he's got bookings all over the world, so maybe he's just clearing up his schedule. That could be one of the things. And I know for me this isn't such a great deal, but I guess Jimmy Havoc will be returning to a TV taping in July 25th. And the last bit, Ross Von Erich, who's now part of the MLW umbrella, actually had filmed some scenes for upcoming Dwayne Johnson's Fast and Furious spinoff Hobbs and Shaw. So I guess Ross Von Erich is going to be a bit of a minor, another wrestler in a movie, and I think that'll be a big movie, to be honest. I'm not saying it's going to be a hit, but it's definitely a movie with a lot of money behind it.
Well, Fast and Furious is a huge franchise.
It really is, and I don't know how the spin-off franchise will go, but hey, maybe it'll hit on those cylinders. We know The Rock's funny, let's just see where it goes, okay?
Okay.
Now, I know that you have for me a rumor that you've been hearing floating around.
I do.
And it's a big one, and I'd like to hear it because I know it harkens back to something we may not deal with very much these days, but who knows? We may do down the line.
Now, actually, I was meaning to ask before we went on the air. Did you watch it this week?
No, I did not. I did not watch it.
I don't even... I did, and let's just say,
You wish you had?
But apparently, the rumor is that as frustrated as Impact Wrestling has been with Pursuit Channel and all their screw-ups, the reports are saying that the company is very close to signing a deal with Access TV.
Wow.
Which other pro wrestling companies have found a good home with in the past.
Well, New Japan is there right now, and they're making some great inroads in the U.S. You know what? If that happens and they up the game, we might have to add Impact back into our rotation of shows we watch. God, more wrestling. Okay, anyhow. Now, fans, we're going to go really quickly over the two pay-per-views this weekend, all right? And let's start off with, we'll start off with the ROH one, okay?
Okay.
Or actually, no. Actually, I want to actually... okay, let's do Best in the World first, okay?
Okay.
Now, we're not really... It's not really... We're just going to go over quickly, and you just tell me quickly if you thought the matches were... the match was good, or what you thought about it really quick, okay?
All right.
Okay, our opening match. Roosh defeating Flip Gordon. What do you think of this match?
This was an okay match. This was actually off on the kickoff show.
Yeah, that is true.
That they did, but it was just okay for me.
Okay. I thought it was an okay match. There was no real foreshadowing it was going to come later on with one of these fellows, but Roosh taking the win. A little bit surprising. I wasn't sure which way they would go with this. I mean, Roosh and Flip Gordon have both been very much pushed by this company.
Right.
But Roosh getting the shot, he looks good in there. I got to give him that. He's a very talented guy. Flip Gordon still kind of... Sometimes I think he is a little too flippy, if that's not trying to be rude or whatever. All right, moving on. Dalton Castle defeating Dragon Lee. I found this a really odd match to begin with.
It was. I don't know. It didn't seem like they gelled very well together.
Yeah.
This was an odd match.
One of the things that was nice to see, though, it felt like Dalton Castle wasn't so slow and plodding as he's been for the last little while. It seemed like, he kicked it up a notch, and I'll give him that. Maybe that was Dragon Lee. I mean, that dude, if you want to keep up with Dragon Lee, you got to kick it up a notch for sure.
Right.
And on paper, I was really worried that, he was going to run circles around Dalton, because let's face it, Dalton's been, for how long has he been held together with tape? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But a better match than I thought it would be. But I don't really think it was that great of a match, to be honest.
Okay.
All right. Women of Honor champion Kelly Klein and Jenny Rose losing to Angelina Love and Mandy Leon.
I don't even the allure. It's what you expected from this match. Like we've already seen Angelina Love and in the ring in the past, so it's just a bit more of the same that we've already seen.
Well, you know what? They're definitely definitely a step down from the WWE Women's division for sure.
Yeah.
I like Kelly Klein a lot. Jenny Rose, I mean, she's serviceable, wrestler. I like Angelina Love. I've always thought she has been a bit underrated as a wrestler. And, she does what she good. Mandy Leon is that problem where you have an extremely good-looking woman who is extremely limited in her wrestling. She's a great character, but she's not much of a wrestler. I'm going to give her that, okay? She definitely needs some work. I'm not saying she's horrible, but she definitely needs to work on timing and some of her aspects, you know?
Right.
Okay, now this part, oh man. Kenny King defeats Jay Lethal in the best of 3 match 3. Man.
How?
How is Kenny King?
Just no. How? I don't understand. I really expected
Jay to put this crap to rest. Yeah, me too.
Seriously. Wait, how many matches did Kenny King win? All of them so far?
No. It was they each won one.
It was 1-1.
Yeah,
it was tied at 1.
Best of 3. Yeah.
I just wish King would have. Just wish Lethal would have put an end to it.
Yeah, we've talked a lot. We've never been the biggest Kenny King fans, and God, I was hoping it wasn't going to go this way. Jay Lethal's got to be the ultimate team player. That's for sure.
Yep.
Now, here's something we haven't seen in a long time, and this is definitely, going out to the fans who love solid wrestling. It was a Pure Rules match, which ROH used to have a Pure Rules division for a long time. I'm not sure. Are you familiar with? Are you familiar with the Pure division? What they used to do?
I've just recently started watching ROH. We used to get it here off and on for a while, and then on Sunday nights. But then this disappeared from television. Okay,
well, you know what? The Pure Rules tend to be they're a little bit different. You're only allowed X amount of, I think it's 3 rope breaks, which means if you use up your 2 or 3 breaks, right? When you go to use, if you try and you get trapped in a hold and you try and use the break again, the referee ignores it. You only have a set amount of things. And it's got it's designed to make people really wrestle and really work out of stuff instead of just, breaking holds. And so, it's strategy too. You may be in a hold and you may not want to use your rope break until you're exhausted. Or, you may want to try and strategize and fight out of stuff. So I used to like it. Fans, I don't know. Fans kind of dropped out of it for a while, but I think it was a good platform for this match where Jonathan Gresham, and we talked about Silas Young continuing this whole ridiculous squid thing for a while. Jonathan Gresham gets the win here, and you know what? This is the kind of match that's made for him, but I don't know how many others are really going to want to do these kind of Pure matches. I mean, the Pure thing was tried, and it went the way of the Dino, man. So I'm not, yeah. All right. Next, NWA champion Nick Aldis. Now he was supposed to be teamed with NWA national champion Cole Cabana, but Cole Cabana was injured coming into this. So Eli Drake was the fill-in.
Elio Drake.
Eli Drake, not Elio. Not Elio. It's Eli. You get your head in gear here, man. Don't you get all egotistical on me. So Eli Drake, Nick Aldis taking on the Briscoe brothers, ends up being just a schmoz fight where everyone's beating the crap out of each other. And it was okay, I guess, for plunder type matches, but I guess I still wonder why in the hell we're watching NWA guys on ROH, but
I really don't know. I don't understand this whole NWA deal that's going on with ROH.
And okay, now this is where things got really boring for me. Shane Taylor putting the ROH TV belt up against Bandito.
Shane Taylor is boring.
However, Bandito actually power slammed him. How did he get that much weight in the air is beyond me. But wow, Shane Taylor. It was an okay match, but Bandito looked good, But like I said, it's Shane Taylor. All right, the ROH 6-man titles. Villain Enterprises putting their belts up against Mark Haskins, Tracy Williams, and PJ Black, who we finally, after how many weeks, have confirmed is part of Lifeblood. Villain Enterprises wins.
Anytime PCO is in the ring, it's going to be good.
PCO, love this dude, man. Love this dude. Now, they had a little thing, we don't really talk too much about in-between stuff, but Flip Gordon comes out, and Lifeblood offers him a T-shirt. And and asks him to join. And lights go out. Marty Scurll comes on, starts talking about his new acquisition into Villain Enterprises. And boom, Flip Gordon attacks the guys in Lifeblood and is revealed to be the newest member of Villain Enterprises. So this is an interesting twist. Now Flip Gordon's going to be the bad guy, I guess.
So I'm confused. Like there are weeks I'm confused about Villain Enterprise if they're heels or faces because
Yeah, that's exactly confusing. It is.
They're heels. Are they heels?
They're supposed to be heels, but I mean they do also.
But everyone loves PCO.
Yeah, it's a very confusing thing, and you got to wonder about that. How long can you keep PCO in this group if they're trying to be villains? And PCO is so loved by people, How long do you keep them in there? So, well, we're gonna see. Like, and is it that much? If they're such tweeners and who seem to like glide more onto being faces, it makes you wonder. Does that mean anything? Does Flip Gordon? Is this even a bad move? Like, you're right. It's a little confusing, that line. I'm not sure what to think of that because if they were such an evil group, the betrayal by Flip Gordon would seem more, but they're not an evil group. So I don't know. You're right. It's confusing. Good match. Moving on to the main event.
This is why we drink.
This is why we drink. Yeah.
To make logic out of it, find logic here.
Now, Matt Taven putting the ROH title against Jeff Cobb. I like both these guys, and this was a pretty good match, but man, Jeff deserves to be the champion, and he did not win it this time. But
there was no cheating from Matt Taven.
Yeah.
He literally won it like without having to like resort to cheating.
Yeah, so yeah. Which is confusing too, because now, you've taken Jeff Cobb, who was totally undefeated coming into this. He's been a monster for everything and a totally good guy for the fans. Matt Taven, who's still kind of the arrogant, delusional jerk, yet he wins totally clean, and this makes Taven look good, but what does that make Jeff Cobb look like? A little bit confusing there, fans. I'm hoping that fans don't think, well, wow, Cobb couldn't get it done against, he's good against everyone, but when the championship comes up, he can't win it. I don't believe that. I've known Jeff Cobb for a long time, and I'm hoping that this is just step one in his quest to take out Matt Taven. All right. And let's go now and take a quick look at Fyter Fest. All right?
Okay. All right.
Now, we're going to skip all the pre-show stuff, and we're going to go right into the actual show. Okay? Opening match, CIMA defeating Christopher Daniels. Fun match. CIMA, I haven't seen him for quite a while, actually. It's been years since I saw him in ROH, which he was in for a while. Christopher Daniels, man, for a guy who's been wrestling as long as he has, he looks so good in there. Like, when he starts wrestling, it is just like, the man is like water. He's so fluid in his movement. That's the kind of thing that great experience teaches you, but then sometimes injury can get you out of it. But he's at a peak right now, and it's too bad that, his age probably will not let him get looked at by WWE or, But then, hey, he's in AEW here, and he's making money now, so...
Yep.
So, good on him. The winner ends up being CIMA. Very good match. No cheating or no, ridiculous crap here. They actually hug each other at the end of the match, which was kind of cool. All right, the next match. Yuka Shizaki versus Rio versus Nyla Rose. Now, Nyla Rose, talk about confusing, the first real transgender-pushed wrestler, who is a man transitioning to a woman, definitely dominates this match most of the time. Just slapping around Sakaz. Oh man, I can't even say the name tonight.
Sakazaki
and Rio. Rio, by the way, is going full time into AEW. She's finished all her commitments in Japan. In the end, Rio wins. And it comes down to that old thing of where the big monster heel spends too much time gloating about how tough she is, that she lets the victory slip away. So we definitely will be seeing more of Nyla Rose. Maybe she's going to have to be a little more focused to try and win. Next match, really fun. MJF versus Jimmy Havoc versus Adam Page versus Jungle Boy with your favorite wrestler of all, Masked Luchador, Luchasaurus. And this time I know I'm not mistaken because I know you like Luchasaurus.
No, you're not mistaken. I like Luchasaurus.
Yeah, I like him a lot too. Great match here. A 4-way to determine... what were they determining? Anyways, it's a 4-way match. And I got to say, as much as MJF can piss you off in other places, there's just times where he is such a good heel that you love to hate but can back up his stuff. And I really like that about him.
Another
Jimmy,
AEW,
sorry?
another AEW star that was in the crowd during this match was Kip Sabian. This leads to a match that they're gonna have at Fight for the Fallen with Kip Sabian versus Adam Page.
That's right, and it's going to be Adam Page because Adam Page wins this, and fun match. Adam Page being very dominant, MJF looking really good. Jimmy Havoc, well, at least he wasn't gross this week. And Jungle Boy, who I haven't seen too much of, he had me interested. So I found it a fun match. This, of course, will lead up to Adam Page taking on Kip Sabian, as we said, at Fight for the Fallen.
I have a question. How was Jimmy Havoc in this match? Did he do any of this crazy stuff?
No, not too much. Not the hardcore crap, really. For him, it was subtle. Okay, that's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
There was no heavy duty stapling or those kind of ridiculousness. Next match, a time limit draw between Cody and Darby Allin.
Ooh, yes.
Now Darby Allin, I've heard lots about this guy. I haven't got to see much of him. He's a smaller guy. He takes brutal beatings. He gives out some brutal stuff, but man, that guy takes a lot of crap.
Yeah, I've seen this guy.
Went to a time limit draw, which was kind of nice. And it's afterwards, I guess, is where more of the news came out, where Shawn Spears comes out, hits Cody in the head with a chair, and cuts him badly, folks. It was pretty rank.
Right.
And unfortunately, the only thing that I didn't like about that is they spent all this time building up Darby Allin, and he stays with Cody, does this match with Cody. Then he just disappears after the draw, and it's all about Shawn Spears. And it's like everyone's forgotten him now. So that's not cool. Next match, Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks defeating Pentagon Jr., Rey Fenix, and the Laredo Kid. Now this was as crazy as you can imagine it, folks. It was high intensity. The Young Bucks doing their super kick party. Kenny Omega just in there tearing it up. And the Lucha Brothers, man, looking great. Laredo Kid, I don't know a lot about, but he was pretty good in here. In the end, just like in old Japan days, Omega uses the V-trigger, boom, and the One Wing Angel, and he wins. Good match. Really fun. Probably I'm going to say it was my favorite match of the entire night. Now the main event. And this is where things get a little rough for me, folks.
Okay.
Joey Janela taking on Jon Moxley, the former Dean Ambrose, in a hardcore anything goes match. And it had everything goes. I mean, there was like thumbtacks and barbed wire. And that stuff just doesn't do it for me, folks. I was not impressed by the end of this. Jon Moxley gets the win. I don't want to see somebody's foot thrown into thumbtacks and,
Yeah, I know. This isn't 1998. This is like 2019. That stuff's just not cool today.
Yeah, I mean, when it first happened back in the day, it was like exciting and different, and oh wow.
Yeah.
Now we realize how disgusting and painful this kind of stuff is, and this is the only thing for me that I didn't really like about this pay-per-view was definitely this match. And it's sad that it was the main event and they closed it out, and but all in all, it was fun, and I picked this one just on a slight edge over Best in the World because it was a little funner,
Well, yeah, going through this card, the matches were definitely a lot more fun and enjoyable than ROH.
Well, you know what, folks? We're gonna go quickly. I'm gonna go quickly over this stuff. We've kind of gone a little bit of time because of the thing. I wanted to announce this week and to go really quickly over some New Japan stuff. And first of all, New Japan was down in Australia. They're currently on a tour in Australia. And some of the big things mostly involves an Australian wrestler, were the big parts of it. Will Ospreay defending his title against Robbie Eagles in what was just a really good match. I mean, if you fans haven't got a chance to see it, check it out. It was in their Melbourne show. It was not the main event, but it was it was definitely the best match of the night. Then the next night, a bunch of, none of the stuff was really too dependent on going into the G1 or anything that have much ramifications, except for the next night there was a match between the Bullet Club and Chaos, and Will Ospreay being a part of Chaos, and Robbie Eagles being a part of our Bullet Club, and they had just fought the night before. During the match, Jay White and the Bullet Club kind of beat down Chaos. Jay White gets out a chair and tells Robbie Eagles to attack Will Ospreay with the chair. He refuses and then lays out the Bullet Club with the chair and with the help of the rest of Chaos and officially joins Chaos. So
Okay,
Robbie
I was trying to
Eagles,
figure out what happened there.
okay,
Yeah.
so Robbie Eagles joining Chaos. I kind of saw this coming. We saw all the dissension between him and El Phantasmo. I thought for sure they were going to go at it sometime sooner.
Right.
But instead, you know what? He's had enough of Bullet Club. Robbie Eagles moves over to Chaos. Should be interesting because, hey,
Yeah.
didn't we have, we've had what's his name? Jay White pull the same crap where he was over in Chaos and moved over to Bullet Club. So
Yep.
kind of balances out the things. Now, fans, the G1 tournament is coming up. We talked last week about Bracket A. We're going to talk really quickly about Bracket B because there are some interesting people in here, and it is coming up soon. It'll be starting next week sometime, so I think it's the 9th or something like that. So we don't have a lot of time to go over stuff, but, oh, man. You know what? We are running pretty low on time here. I'm thinking maybe we skip it for another time.
No, the G1's coming up soon. I have the list in front of me. I'm gonna name off a couple of the guys and Legend, you tell us what you
Okay, yeah, you're right. You know what? The
these
G1
names.
is too important. Let's do it. Let's do it. We'll go over it really quick, folks. Go ahead.
So the first name on the list is Jeff Cobb.
Jeff Cobb. Now, Jeff Cobb has definitely been on a roll. He is a big man. He's bigger than a lot of the guys in this tournament. He's definitely well skilled. I'm going to have to put him at the top, near the top of finishing this block.
Yep. I'm gonna have to agree with that because as we all know, I'm a big fan of Jeff Cobb as well.
Okay, who else we got?
Then we have Hiroki Goto.
Hiroki Goto, I think, will do what he does most years. He'll have a few wins, mostly. He'll do half and half, and I figure he'll finish in the mid thing. I don't think he's a threat for this year's G1.
Yeah, he'll do well. He'll finish in the mid card. Then we have Tomohiro Ishii.
Tomohiro Ishii. Wow. He's a current Never champion. I see him doing well, but once again, he's been the perennial guy who just never gets the giant push. He never gets the giant wins. He does well for minor belts. I don't see him winning the G1. I don't see him even finishing the top 2 or 3 guys in this standing.
Okay, then we have Jon Moxley.
Jon Moxley. I think he's going to be an attraction. I think they're going to give him some spots and some things, but to be honest, I think he's going to get himself maybe disqualified, maybe like in his matches. I don't mean overall in the tournament.
Yeah.
I think in the end, he's going to do okay, but I don't think he's going to be also in the top. I don't see him finishing in the finals. Sorry.
I have a question. What do you think about this guy? I mean, when he first left the WWE, there was all this talk about him. Where is he gonna go? And how is he gonna do outside of the company?
Well, you know what?
So you think the novelty's wearing off with him?
I hope not. I wasn't a big fan of the hardcore thing, over the weekend. That distracted me from what I thought he did really well when he came in and won the U.S. I mean, he is the New Japan United States champion.
Yeah.
Like I said, man, he's got a lot riding on him. I know he's allowed to compete in Japan, but we went over the fact that when it comes to the United States, he can't compete for other companies other than AEW. So that makes him a little bit problematic winning a giant tournament like this. So I'm going to say that he'll do okay. He won't do super great. I can see him finishing maybe 3rd or 4th in the B block.
Okay. Then we have Tetsuya Naito.
Naito, he's definitely on a roll. He is definitely the dark horse. You know what? I'm going to pick Naito right now to win Block B. I think that,
I'm going with Naito too. I like Naito.
I like him. He's good. I don't like his spitting. Okay? When he spits at people. Sorry, fans. It's not cool, whoever you are, to spit at anyone. That's just juvenile crap. Okay? Next.
We're looking at you, Sammy.
Yeah. We're not trying to look at you, Sammy. By the way, we heard you. What was he? Oh, was he a goat fucker? Yeah, okay, anyways. Going on.
Next up is Juice Robinson.
Juice Robinson. I don't really, he's an okay mid-carder to me, but I don't see him as a main event guy, and I don't think he's going to, last year he had a tremendously bad G1. I mean, he finished in the bottom of his bracket, and I think he'll be just a tiny bit better this year.
Okay, and next we have the resident opera singer Tai Chi.
Tai Chi equals Kenny King, equals Shane Taylor, equals a steaming pile of crap. No.
This guy definitely not.
No.
No.
He is going to finish last in B block. That's my thing. There's no way he gets victories, man. This guy's terrible. Tai Chi bottom.
The next one is one guy that I'm actually going to pick to finish and be in Block B, Shingo Takagi.
Ooh, Shingo, yeah. Man, went undefeated in the Super Junior tournament until he got to the finals. Strong, big man, definitely fits in the heavyweights. I could see him coming in second. I'm going to place him as my bet as second. I see Naito winning the block and Shingo coming in at second.
Okay. And next we have Jay White.
Jay White. Wow, Jay White, what do you do with this guy? He was a champion a little while ago. Now he just floats around. He's a perennial bad guy. I don't see him winning this block.
No.
I see him upsetting a few people. I see him doing some dirty things with Bullet Club. I see him finishing in the mid-card, like in the mid-range in this tournament.
And the last name on the list for Block B is Toriano.
Toriano, okay. You have to be smoking massive amounts of crack if you think Toriano is going to win the G1.
He is not going to win the G1.
He is, but he is going to finish ahead of Tai Chi. I mean, that's a given. He'll have a few spoiler wins. He always does. He usually knocks somebody big off for a match. He'll be the one who'll beat like Naito out of nowhere, or or Shingo. There's my weird pick. I say one of the few victories he gets will be over Shingo. Okay?
Oh no! Okay.
I mean, every year he'd beat like Bad Luck Fale out of nowhere. This year it's going to be Shingo. So he's not going to win, folks. He'll be in the bottom. Great wrestler. He's funny, but he's just not good enough to be at the top of this tournament.
I'm so not a fan of Bad Luck Fale.
Yeah, me neither. He's just big. Okay, so is that our New Japan wrap up?
That is our New Japan wrap up.
Okay,
it's Block B.
Folks, we went a lot longer so far in this than we want. We're going to take a break right now. When we come back, we're going to zip through our 3 shows. I was going to do show you a 5-minute interview I had with Teddy Hart. We are going to bump that to next week. We don't want to over-drag the show. But next week, there's no pay-per-view scheduled this week, so we should be able to get through a lot quicker. And so just forgive us for this. Next week, Teddy Hart, really fun interview I had with him. Not psychotic Teddy Hart this time, a very gracious and slightly concussed Teddy Hart. Folks, we're taking a break now, and we will see you when we get back.
Hello, this is Miguel Cole from the Wrestling POV podcast. Wrestling POV and Wrestling POV Global is affiliated with the Collar and Elbow brand. Go to collarandelbowbrand.com and save yourself 10% by using promo code WPOV. Collar and Elbow has t-shirts, hoodies, sunglasses, and more. And the best part, you're helping out your local indie wrestlers. And you're helping out the best wrestling podcast of all, Wrestling POV and Wrestling POV Global. You don't want to miss out. So save yourself 10% by using promo code WPOV. Oh my goodness!
This is the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, and you are listening to the Wrestling POV podcast.
Hey fans, we are back. It's this time of the show where we take a look at our 3 regular shows we watch every week. We watch NXT UK, we watch MLW Fusion, and we watch the ROH Weekly Show. We're going to talk about each of them, see which one, and we started writing down last week who we thought was the best thing. We started officially now trying to determine which one. And we're going to see how they do this week, all right? And why don't you start us off, Elio, with NXT UK?
Alright, so NXT UK this week came to us again from Derby, England at the Download Festival, and we kick things off with Mark Andrews defeating Joseph Connors in the opening match. Now, I'm not a fan of Joseph Connors. I just don't get this guy.
I don't get him either.
I'm going to say that right off. This match, it was just okay, but it was a lot better than last week's opener.
Well, you know what? The only problem I had with this match is if you realize how small Mark Andrews really is.
Yeah,
Joseph Connor made him look like a very young teenager in there. And he's talented, but when you have such discrepancy in sizes, and guys who aren't like, I mean, Joseph Connors isn't terrible. I don't understand him a lot. I don't get where he comes from, but he's not terrible. And so, as a result, it just looks so kind of oddly lopsided.
Yeah.
You know? All right. Go on.
Okay, then we have the Hunt talking to the Day Master, whatever, the Grizzled Young Veterans with their promos.
Next.
Then we have a Piper Niven Rhea Ripley video. The next match is Zaya Brookside defeating Killer Kelly.
Yeah, Killer Kelly, she's the poor girl she's like Natalia now, you know? Every time she comes out, you know she's losing, you know? Zaya Brookside, I'm not sure what I think of Zaya Brookside. I mean, she's okay.
Right, yeah.
I prefer, you know, they have another girl who's almost a carbon copy of her floating around NXT UK called Cotton Candy, who I've actually...
Candy Floss.
Your Candy Floss. Yeah, Candy Floss. Sorry. Cotton Candy. Candy Floss. See, she's so sweet. Anyways, no.
You're still at the ice cream parlor.
Yeah. But Candy Floss, I don't know. I find her more interesting than Zaya Brookside. I think if Zaya Brookside wasn't last name Brookside, we'd probably be more talking about Candy Floss than we would be her. So she's okay. I don't see her getting very far. And I definitely don't see her standing up to Rhea Ripley, which is something that they've been kind of intimidating. So I don't see that happening.
Now Toni Storm again with her promos, and again she used that word for the championship, the shiny.
You know what?
You know,
it's growing on me, buddy. It's growing on me. It's just like Ciampa was, gloating over his belt all the time. I kind of like it.
Goldie, okay,
yeah.
Okay.
I'm kind of digging it. I'm sorry, Toni Storm. Sometimes a rough promo, but she's getting better all the time.
Then we had Ligero defeating Noam Dar, and Kenny Williams came out during this match and distracted Dar, who asked for the steel chair, but Williams wouldn't give it to him, allowing Ligero to pick up the win.
Ligero getting a victory. Noam Dar, I'm surprised. It almost seems like they're not sure what to do with Noam Dar. Mm-hmm. I mean, the guy's really talented.
Right.
I'm not sure if I like the kind of direction they're going with him right now. Ligero, Ligero's your mid-card guy. Noam Dar, I think, has a better potential.
He's just there, and you know what? I don't even care about that stupid mask anymore. It's just whatever. It's just there.
It's just there, exactly.
And then in the main event, we had Walter defending the UK Championship against Travis Banks, and we all expected Walter. Of course, we all expected this outcome: Walter defeating Banks.
Yeah, I don't think even Banks' mother really thought that that he had a chance against Walter. The Kiwi Crusher gets crushed. He put up a better fight than I thought he would, but let's face it, Walter is the dominating guy right now. He's so much bigger. I mean, Banks isn't even that big, and I was even surprised that Banks made it to be the guy to get this shot. So, good job on you, Banks, but Walter is definitely a guy they're going to be marketing around for a while.
Okay, and that's your NXT UK for the week. What
did you think overall of the show? What would you give it?
It's this week's show, I'm going to have to go with a B because it wasn't as bad as last week's. Last week's I didn't enjoy as much. I
agree. I'm going to have to go with a B too because I thought it had some dumb stuff, but it also had some interesting stuff. Rather balanced. So yeah, let's give it a middle of the road B.
Okay.
All right, next we're going to move on to MLW Fusion. All right.
Oh my God, this was awesome.
There was some cool stuff in here and some weird stuff. And okay, right off the bat, we got a whole bunch of Contra threatening. It just really seems like a lot of Contra lately. I got to give them that. They're really pushing the crap out of these guys.
This was a Contra themed show. Like every
segment almost.
They had the Contra logo.
Yeah, how many times did that? Oh, that guy doing the weird. Yeah. Okay, so Contra comes out. They talk about how they're going to beat up poor Tom Lawler, and that Joseph Samael is going to, tenderize him so that Fatu can win the belt. So, okay, it makes no sense to me why he wouldn't want to win the belt himself, but okay. First match, Adam Brooks taking on Austin Aries. Austin Aries, man, did Austin Aries look old? He looked like he aged a lot in the last little while.
It wasn't just me then, because I was looking at him, I'm like, wait, what did Austin Aries do first of all with that hair? And then his beard's all grown out. He looks completely different.
What did he do, Elio? He fell in a sleep chamber and aged 50 years. Holy frick, he looked old. And, I was surprised when when they tell you, the debuting Austin Aries will face, and then they throw some guy, like throw Adam Brooks, who we've never seen, who is also making his debut. Your first thought is, oh man, this is a squash match, you know? But surprisingly,
Adam Brooks did something here.
yeah, he actually put on a pretty impressive show. The Australian, go ahead.
He delivered a cutter from the springboard cutter off the ropes.
Yeah, you know, he really did some interesting things, and both guys actually look pretty good in here. Austin Aries looked a little slower, a little bit older, but he definitely still had his mannerisms and his moves, and it'll be interesting. I like the promo he did afterwards where he talked about, you know, he was saying how, you know, Teddy Hart, everyone says Teddy Hart's an asshole. Wait till they see how much of an asshole I am. And I'm like, whoa.
I wouldn't see that match.
And folks, you know, I it seems strong language was the thing of the night. I mean, they had a little bit of thing where they had, you know, we made reference to this earlier. They had a thing where the horrible Casey goes to interview Selena De La Renta, and Selena, the first thing she refers to as Sami Callihan being a goat fucker.
I'm so glad I wasn't drinking when she said
I actually was, and I spit my drink out because I did not expect that. Oh my lord! And you know what? Is this the new trend? Because you know what? They had they used goat fucker over on was it on Raw where they had Corey Graves said holy shit this week on national television.
Yep.
Folks, this might be the can of worms now of like opening swears on commentary. I guess I don't know. The goat fucker makes me laugh. And if any wrestler was a goat fucker, it's Sami Callihan. Wait.
I'll take the language over the chair shots any day.
That is true. And let's face it, folks. It kind of feels like we're putting poor goats down by saying that Sami Callihan's a goat fucker. Because really, what goat's going to willingly, you know, he's going to have to grab Velcro gloves, push it over a fence or something like that. But anyhow. They had some really lame dynasty little thing, which was kind of dumb. Was showing how
that was along the lines of the H2 promos.
Well, and how dumb is Richard Holiday? Well, why does he need to help her with her nail? Because you are definitely a retard. You know, folks, I didn't mean that in the sense of putting down people with mental challenges. I just meant they treat him like he is so stupid, yet he's the successful businessman. Yep. And he misses every subtle cue. I mean, geez. Why do you think? Anyways, I'm not going to go why he was helping her. But anyways, we talked about this a couple weeks ago. Savio Vega coming soon into MLW. We see a horrible squash match between Jacob Fatu destroying Ariel Dominguez and Sam Black.
Yeah. Well, I know Ariel Dominguez. I didn't know the other guy.
He might as well have been jobber number 7 because he took a beating. That's all they did. They took a beating. It was such a short match.
Okay.
And then they all run out. Contra runs out, attacks everybody. The usual nonsense. Then, okay, I really love this promo. Mance Warner, man, you are the man.
Mm-hmm.
How he can take a good old boy country hit character and still give you that sense of danger and the sense of coolness. Mance pulls that off. This was a really fun promo for him. Talking about him going after Selena's company, you know? He had the funny jokes in there, but the threats and the full bit, and keep it in character. And you know what? When he turns that hat around,
he gets serious. When he puts on the beard, he gets serious. And by the way, after he's done, he's gonna mow the lawn. Yes,
that was funny as hell. He's standing. There's this horrible field behind him, and he goes, "Well, then I guess I'll have to cut the lawn." That was good. It was good. Finally, the main event. Tom Lawler taking on Joseph Samuel in a non-title match. Man, I don't even know where to start with this. I don't like Joseph Samuel at the best of times.
Right.
It seemed like he went pretty well. Like, they've had him such a coward every time Lawler's around. Mm-hmm. Yet, in this match, he was like, he had a good amount of offense in there.
He brought out the spike at the end, though.
Yeah, he brings out the spike, which is almost like a knife, and he drives it into the turnbuckle. And Lawler, however, gets disqualified for pushing the ref. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know.
So, yeah, you know, and meanwhile, they have this, they cut to, in the back, the Von Erichs, fighting the rest of Contra. Now, I don't know if you caught this, but they show Fatu fighting one of the Von Erichs, and then they show the other Von Erich fighting someone, but you can't see who it is at all. They never show you. You're supposed to pretend it's Simon Grimm, but it's not. Well, probably not. I mean, they would have showed us his face, right? So that was a bit of a cheap out. Makes you wonder, was that even shot at the same time? Because if you noticed, I never understand why Simon Grimm only comes out sometimes with Contra.
Yeah, I don't understand it.
And if you watch their video where they're doing the recap of the, that thing they always say, they got the guy go, and they have all the little things, right? And they show the names, and it always goes Joseph Samael, Fatu. It never says Simon Grimm.
Wow.
I just noticed that this week. I'm like, hey, how come his name never comes up on there? He's supposed to be a member. He's only ever in half the vignettes and half the things. I have no idea maybe his contract status isn't big enough with them. I don't know. But makes you think. Overall, I would give this show this week, I'm going to give it a B+. It was just a little bit better than NXT UK. It had some terrible stuff. No, actually, I'm going to change it to an A because Goatfucker and Mance Warner made me laugh.
I was going to say, I'm like, those two alone made this show because I was dying when I heard that.
Ouch. Anyhow, moving on. Let's do the last show we got. ROH.
Okay.
Roll it down, baby.
ROH this week, we open up with PCO versus Mark Briscoe. Now, what I love about PCO is, first of all, the fans love him. Like they kept chanting PCO throughout the match, and then I just love when he gets hit, he just stands there, looks at you, and smiles.
I love PCO. I love the ridiculous things, like sometimes he'll jump out of the wrong side of the ring when the guy's on the other and land on the floor. And
now, what was confusing about this was I didn't know if this what kind of match this was because it started out with PCO and Mark Briscoe, but then both Briscoes were there, and apparently they said something about no disqualification.
Yeah,
So I wasn't sure what was going on.
And there's also the point you brought up is, who's the good guys and bad guys? Because the Briscoes have been portrayed as nothing but bad guys. Villain Enterprises is supposed to be bad guys, but PCO, who's totally loved, is being jumped by them. So it's a little bit confusing. It's very confusing. Overall, the match was okay.
Then we had a tag team match. Bully Ray and Shane Taylor defeating Coast to Coast.
Oh, God. 4 people I could not care less about.
This match brought it down.
Yeah. Next. I don't want to even talk about it.
And then in the main event, it was Jeff Cobb defeating Mark Haskins with Tour of the Islands.
I don't think for one moment anyone really thought that Haskins had a chance here.
Right. I don't even think Haskins thought he had a chance.
Yeah. Jeff Cobb is just too dominant right now, and Haskins isn't really that big, and he's okay. It was an okay match. I don't think it was a great main event match for this show, and I think we look at these shows and we've been talking, we talked about the fyterfest stuff, we talked about AEW, then we talk about ROH, and there wasn't a lot of really actually fun stuff in this week's. I mean, we look at MLW, we laughed because between all the matches, there was a few things that were kind of funny,
Right.
But can you say that about ROH?
No. I mean, this tag team match just brought the show down. It opened up with a solid match with PCO, and then just, after the tag team match...
Right. And then to finish it off with the main event that would... I'd like to think that the main events they show you on shows would be the actual, almost a main event where you would go to a place and think, yeah, that's a thing. But as much as I like Jeff Cobb, him fighting Mark Haskins is not a main event anywhere.
No.
Even in Mark Haskins' hometown. Anyways. So I'm going to give this week's, I'm going to give it a B-.
This one's going to be a B- for me.
All right. So how does that put our standings for the week? Do you have last week's? Who won last week?
So let's see. Last week, let me just bring the results of last week's up.
Okay.
Here we had NXT was in first place.
Ooh.
Then we had MLW in second and ROH in third.
Okay, so in this week it looks like we have MLW in first, NXT in second, and ROH third. So that's 3 weeks in a row. I'm thinking the best way for us to keep track of these points is we'll give 2 points for the winner 1 point for second place and 0 points for third place. So as we stand now, folks, we're probably tied, I would think, with MLW and NXT UK are probably tied at 2 points each, or 3 points each. And ROH, the big goose egg over 2 weeks.
Wow.
Now,
and that's just, like you were saying, that's just sad because, like you were saying, you really enjoy ROH.
Yeah.
As do I.
And let's face it, though, fans, if we were still watching Impact, I'm pretty sure Impact would be the zero winner in most of this. We're not saying that ROH is terrible by any means. We're just saying it's just not as strong and entertainingly fun as the other two shows are at the moment.
Right.
All right, so you know what? It's that time of the day where we dig into the list. Get out get out my book of shame, and I don't think I have anyone to add this week, but I know you do.
I do, and actually, before we do that, the guys over at WPOV were still wondering where Miguel Cole is.
Miguel Cole.
Apparently, we just got updates about his whereabouts.
Yeah, you're right. I got a message too over the RCMP thing. Go ahead, tell the people what's going on here.
So apparently, Miguel Cole was pulled over by the Canadian authorities, and he's been held ever since they had him in for questioning.
You know, I don't know if they've released him yet, but let's face it, didn't we warn him about destroying Canadian money?
I mean, we did warn him, and he didn't listen, so I guess he's stranded here in Canada.
And I'm not pointing any fingers, and I'm not saying any innuendos, but someone who may or may not host Global may have phoned the Border Patrol and said that Miguel Cole had 400 pounds of cocaine shoved in him. And I'm pretty sure Miguel has had hands in him today in places that most puppets don't even get hands. So,
oh no.
That's what happens when you mess with the Canucks, buddy.
Okay, so let's get into this book here.
All right, Book of Shame.
So first we have Ace Austin.
Yeah, Ace Austin. You know, I'm not even worked up this week. Ace Austin, yeah, you're still in, buddy.
Next is El Hijo de Los Angeles Park.
Oh, my Lord. Wow. Definitely in. What a ridiculous-looking costume this guy has. And I have yet to see anything that makes him think the way he wrestles, he doesn't even seem like he's L.A. Park's son. So, pretty lame. Lame sauce.
And then we have the inaugural entry, Facade. You know what? He's perennially in there until things change. We've said that every week. So yes, Facade, you make me laugh, you make me sigh. I have my doubts that we're ever going to see him again.
Yeah, me too, to be honest.
I don't know. Next is that word that begins with F.
Next. That's always in. Next.
Jimmy Havoc.
Ugh. Yeah. You're in, Jimmy Havoc, you creepo. Learn to wrestle.
Okay. Kenny King.
Whoa, somebody wake me up. Oh, Kenny King's wrestling. Somebody don't wake me up.
Then we had Madman Fulton.
Boy, I'm almost could continue with the Madman.
Nigel McGuinness.
Oh, and I thought I wasn't going to get mad. Nigel McGuinness. Ugh. The hate and bile that you produce in the back of my throat. I used to love Nigel McGuinness's wrestling. He makes Renee Young seem like the best goddamn commentator that's ever happened in this. Ugh. You're terrible, Nigel. Terrible.
And
Retire.
then we have Sammy Callihan.
Well, as far as goat fuckers go, you spitting, disgusting warthog. You got what? Yeah. Selena was right about you.
Well, Sammy Callihan with 3 asterisks. You know what? I'm almost tempted to put a 4th after what he did to Tessa Blanchard on Impact.
Oh yeah, we didn't really talk about it. He attacked Tessa Blanchard pretty bad. I know that.
He kicked her in the face, straight in the face.
Yeah, definitely put that asterisk in there, man.
Sammy Callihan times 4 asterisks.
Yeah, spit on that.
We have Casey the Updater.
Oh my Lord, Casey was on MLW this week. She talked for maybe 10 seconds, and she was the worst 10 seconds I've heard in commentary in a while, like for a backstage person. It's literally like they took someone who was...
TJ.
Yes.
Don't you think you're going just a little too
Oh, yes, good catch there. Yes. It's literally like they took someone who had absolutely no knowledge of wrestling whatsoever, And just because she was kind of pretty, and she could barely walk standing upright or tie her shoelaces, and they handed her a mic and said, hey, sashay your cute little butt over there, and ask them some meaningful questions. And she comes up with crap like, don't you think you went a little far? Oh, my Lord.
That was terrible.
She is horrible.
Then we have the Christ brothers.
Oh, speaking of horrible. Next. I don't want to talk about them.
Next is a Hunt.
Oh, what a joke. I mean, I can't even take those guys seriously. They're terrible, man.
And our final entry is Tommy Dreamer.
Oh, Tommy Dreamer. Yeah, you're going to be in there for a long time, buddy. You still managed to pollute the airwaves. Thank God I didn't see you once this week. Hey, that's why I've been happy. I did not see him once on television. Nice.
Yeah, we didn't. No, neither did I, except for on Impact. But that was a flashback from one of the House of Hardcore events.
A flashback as in, hey, remember when this was super crappy too? Okay, next. Now your turn. You've got an entry. I got to hear it, buddy.
That's the last entry. But this week on NXT UK, they had a backstage segment with the Hunt, like an earlier today video.
Yeah.
I for the longest time I couldn't figure out what it was about the Hunt that I really did not like. After watching UK this week, I finally figured out. I couldn't put my finger on it, but now I know what it is about them.
Well, what is it?
They are NXT UK's version of OVE.
Oh God, yes, they are.
And now, Dave Mastiff, you want to associate yourself with them? You've become the Batman Fulton of the team.
Oh no!
So for that, you, sir, are going in the book.
You just read the book. Oh shame.
Quick question.
Yes, sir.
Who's the goat fucker of the?
That's a good question. I don't think they have a leader.
Yeah, they don't have a leader. They're a leaderless OVE. Wow, that's even sadder. Ugh. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna have to agree. Dave Mastiff. I mean, I've tried to ignore him, to be honest. He doesn't even seem like he's worth looking at, you know? He's just a big goof. And, yeah, totally. He's in the book now. You want to join the rest of the loser goof? Become a cartoon? Be all you can't be? Yeah, join them. Well, you know what, folks? Once again, we leave ourselves on a bitter taste in our mouths. Only by the love and power of Alanis Morissette have we gotten through this. But we have. It's been a rough week. Legend and gentleman got a little drunk. We messed up a few words. We dealt with some goat fuckers. It's been a tough week. But you know what, fans? We're here for you guys because we love, even when you're writing in and telling us how we said the wrong thing, well, hey, it just means you're listening and we like it. Yeah, we can call them haters and I don't mind because you know what? I would do the same. I'm kind of douchey like that too. And all we can say is, you know what, keep writing in. Talk to us. You know what? I know a lot of you guys are watching this. And you know, the guys who like ROH, go a little further. Tell me what's so great about ROH right now. And I don't want you to talk about ROH of 6 months ago or 6 years ago. Right now at this moment, what is ROH great with? If you're a big AEW guy, tell me right now what's cool. Not what's coming, what you think's going to happen. Tell me what right now makes you like AEW. And you know what, fans? We have some really good wrestling out there all the time. New Japan's always hot.
Yep.
MLW has got to be that cool, you know, black sheep of the family that everyone forgets, and then you look over and go, wow, that's pretty cool. You know, NXT UK, you know, they have their ups and downs, but most times pretty good. And ROH, still a very good wrestling company. So, folks, tell us what you like. Tell us what you want us to cover. And so far, nobody has said to us, we miss Impact. So, you know what? I guess that's got to be telling itself, right? What do you think, Elio?
Yeah, like I sat down to watch it earlier tonight, and I don't know how I got through it.
I don't even know why you bothered. Do you have some sins that you're trying to atone for? I mean, seems like a pretty harsh penance.
Well, after last week, you said that you were going to watch for the next 2 weeks to see if it would get any better.
And
However,
didn't.
I saved you the trouble this week.
Thank God, because I did get a chance to. I read some of the highlights. I read some things online, and I was just like, thank God.
I took the bullet for you this week.
You did indeed. Well, you know what, Elio? It's been a great time hanging with you as always, fans. You know what? We also have a sister show, and I'm pretty sure if you're listening to us, you probably have heard the sister show. But if you haven't, if you just somehow stumbled onto us and you're listening to WPOV Global and you like guys talking about wrestling, we talk about all the stuff that's non-WWE. But over on our sister show at Wrestling POV, They talk all WWE. It's got some crazy guys on there. There's Tony Diaz. There's Mimi Goody. There's Rick Serrano III, the perennial third wheel of the show. And until he gets out of Canadian prison, Miguel Cole, who is my nemesis in a sock puppet, I would say. A felt nemesis. I'm not sure. But anyway, he's over there. Elio, why don't you tell the people where they can find both of our shows and how they can get a hold of us on social media?
So you can find us on Facebook at Wrestling POV Podcast, on Instagram Wrestling POV 1, and at Twitter at Wrestling POV. And this podcast, as well as Wrestling POV, can be heard on Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, and Podbean.
Whoa, Podbean sounds delicious. Well, folks, we've had a great week. With great time today. We look forward to talking to you guys next week. The G1 is coming. You think we're discombobulated and slipping up now? Wait till halfway through the tournament where we've watched 800 million matches and we're trying to make sense of everything. And that's only one of the 5 companies we always cover. So we're looking for a good one. Folks, we love you tuning in. We want to say special hello to our American friends whose Independence Day is coming up right away. America, we love you. You're our brothers down south, and all the people around the world. We love all you guys. We tuning in, listening to any kind of questions. We're there for you. We're the global boys, and we'll scour the world. And hey, we'll probably run into you as we do it. So thank you, and we look forward to talking to you guys next week. I've been your host, the legend T. James Logan, and with me, my co-host. Say goodbye to the people, Elio.
All right, this is the gentleman Elio Canella saying, talk to you fans next week.
Watch out for goat fuckers.